Now that we're going to go ahead and tackle the project, cleaning the bait casting reel is actually very easy. It does usually take just a few minutes, and for this video obviously it's going to take a little bit longer as I show you how to do it, but there's a few things that you're going to need to get started. First, when you buy a reel, it should come with bantam oil or gear oil, sometimes as it's called, and this is basically the oil that we're going to replace within the reel and the moving parts. It's bantam oil, so if you don't have a bottle of it, you can usually find it at a sporting goods store, anywhere where they sell fishing equipment, so make sure and have that on hand. The thing that we're going to clean our reel with is isopropyl alcohol. This here is 70%, and basically this is going to go ahead and extract the dirt and the grime and all the contaminants that can really wreak havoc on your reel. Obviously we're going to need a rag to wipe the reel down with, so I just have an old sock here, and a few cotton swabs or Q-tips will actually help you get into some of the hard to reach areas that we're going to need to get to. The first step is basically cleaning the reel. Now I do want to say that we're not going to touch the handle side of the reel. There's gears and yoke and washers in here and things like that, and according to my instructions from Shimano, they say that unless the reel has been submerged in salt water, I won't really necessarily have to take this apart and clean it. So I'll probably wait until next year to do that, but this also might be a future video. But for this demonstration of cleaning and oiling the reel, we're going to mainly focus on the spool. And so on the right hand side of this reel, there is the variable braking system cover here with a turnkey dial, and what we're going to do is flip this open, and it's going to tell us how to actually open the cover. So I'm going to go ahead and slide it open, and you're going to hear it click, and that's basically going to pull this cover off by just pulling straight up, and it's going to swing around. It's on a spring shaft, so it's just going to hang here, and that's fine. And as you see here, the variable braking system and the individual brakes that basically slow the spool down. Most beginners have 3 or 4 of these pulled out and engaged. Obviously I only have 2 and could go down to 1 since I'm getting more experienced in bait casting. So this is the spool here, and we're actually going to tilt this upside down and pull it out. So I'm going to go ahead and just tilt it over, and it either will slide right out, or you might have to give it a few twists because there's some teeth that hold it in. As you can see, it's just going to slide right on out. So we have the body of the bait casting reel, and here is the spool, and inside is the spool shaft that you see right here, and that actually goes down inside of the spool, and you can see that there is a bearing down inside of the spool that we're also going to oil. So the first thing is just to put a couple dabs of isopropyl alcohol on a rag, and you can actually go ahead and just start wiping down your reel. At this point you can do the exterior, the interior, anywhere you can get this rag you can go ahead and wipe your reel down with. It dries very quickly, and it really captures the sediment and the dirt, the grime, and everything else that really can do damage to the bearings and moving parts. I did kind of wipe this down already, so I'm just showing you that you can just go over everything. You can even turn it over and do the handle side of the reel. Basically just wipe the entire thing down. Once you get that done, we're going to go ahead and wipe down the spool, the braking system, the actual individual brakes, and the spool shaft here. Basically that was a quick job, but you get the idea. After you have everything wiped down with isopropyl alcohol, we're going to grab our bantam oil and grab a Q-tip, and we're going to start lubricating the reel. Now you only need a couple drops of this stuff. A little bit goes a long ways, and you can actually put too much on, so I really recommend just putting a couple drops on the cotton swab. And we're going to go ahead and start with the spool. Down there where the spool shaft is, inside, we're going to go ahead and get all the way down in there and go around the bearing and the base of the shaft. You might not be able to really see where you are applying the oil, but just make sure to go all the way around. Try to avoid getting any oil on the actual shaft itself, so if you do, try and wipe that back off with isopropyl alcohol. A couple more drops on here. And we're going to go on the edge of every little break. These obviously work off of friction, so they're going to slow the spool down. We're going to go ahead and just put a little bit of oil. All these directions, as I'm telling you, come from the Shimano directions that came with my reel. So I'm not just making this up. I'm actually reading or read from the directions. So the spool's done once you get the individual brakes done and inside of the spool shaft. And that will move us on to the actual aluminum body of the reel. As you can see down in here, every time I turn the handle, you can see the pinion gear right here that spins. Now that actually spins the spool shaft, which in turn spins your spool and allows you to cast and reel up when you hook a fish. So we need to put some oil on the end of our cotton swab here, and then go ahead and dab that pinion on the inside and around it. And basically we're just making sure that that's nice and oiled. You can even go around the little lip there. And that part's done, and now we're going to actually turn the reel around so we can access the brake cover and basically oil the center of this and the lip as well. So now that that's done, we basically have all of the moving parts oiled. You could even do the line guide if you really wanted to. When you reel, you can see this line guide that distributes your line across the spool. You could actually go ahead and put some on that little bar in there if you wanted to. I did notice mine was very, very dirty, so that's something to keep an eye on. Obviously your line coming back from the water carries a lot of dirt and things like that, so you can definitely oil that. But basically at this point we're ready to put this sucker back together. We're going to go ahead and take the spool and put the spool shaft back into the pinion, and it's only going to fit in one way, so you might have to turn it a few times and it will seat down in there and you'll be able to feel it. And basically we will put the cover back on, press down, and the turnkey dial tells you how to close it, and it'll click like that. Go ahead and put the tab down, and now your spool is ready for some line. Basically those little steps right there can keep this reel going for a much longer period of time than if you were to just take it out fishing and go home. So I really recommend that you guys take the time to maintenance your reels. Like I said, the handle side of the reel with the gears and things like that are for a later date, but for now this will get you by and help prolong the life of your spool and the pinion gears that are in there. So thanks for watching Bass in Northwest. I'm just waiting for my fishing season to arrive here at the end of April, and so watch out for some more videos. I hope you subscribe, but if not, I'll see you around YouTube, and take care.